Welcome back, folks, to the 2018 Library Chess Productions Movie Awards. The previous video, we talked about the men. Now we're going to talk about the ladies. Our top 3 best actresses of 2018. So I'm going to kick things off this time around with my 3 honorable mentions for best actresses of 2018. We're looking at Constance Wu for her role in Crazy Rich Asians. We're looking at Dakota Johnson for her role in Bad Times at the El Royale, and Meryl Streep for her role in The Post, which is a movie that I count as a cheater for this year. Constance Wu, again, is kind of the primary character in Crazy Rich Asians that I actually invested in, and again, it's like, I didn't expect to invest in that movie, but I definitely did. Her character is very easy to invest in this movie. It's built, the movie's built for you to invest in her, and luckily her performance is good enough that you definitely do. Dakota Johnson, for everything that everyone says about her for being in the 50 Shades movies and everything like that, Dakota Johnson has shown kind of like, in the same way a little bit as like Kristen Stewart outside of the Twilight franchise, Dakota Johnson is starting to show outside of the 50 Shades franchise that she's actually a fairly capable actress. And this is not a role in Bad Times at the El Royale that she has to take on a ton of weight. Like, it's a primary role, but at the same time it's not, because it's such an ensemble cast. She doesn't have to take the whole movie on her back. And but what she does, and the role that she plays, and the relationship that she has with her sister, as well as, you know, Chris Hemsworth's cult leader character, I just really like the way she performed that. And Meryl Streep, I mean, that's a movie that whole movie is based on her and the strength of her character and the strength of her performance, and for everything that people say about Meryl Streep being capable but at the same time overrated for what the credit that she's given. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I just thought she was fantastic in that movie.
The point about Dakota Johnson also applies. Like, some of these people who do these really big movies. Like, I'm not saying Elijah Wood was bad in Lord of the Rings, even though Lord of the Rings is bad. But, like, he went on and started doing just crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson, same deal. Like, he's just doing some crazy stuff. Kristen Stewart, as you said, they're doing legit work because they figured it out.
Right.
You do the crap movie that makes you the money, and then you go do all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
That, like, gets you credit. Like, I like Dakota Johnson in Bad Times. I would have liked to have seen Suspiria, because she was in that too. And which one is Constance Wu? The main girl?
Yes.
Yeah, she was good too.
Yeah. I
couldn't figure out which one she was.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But
yeah, she was good too. She was charming.
Yeah, yes.
I invested in her.
And that's pretty much all you need for that character. Like, she has to be charming, and you have to sympathize with the position that she's in, and I think she has that elicited in her performance.
Yeah, she was pleasant to watch.
Yeah.
So there you go. Now we move on to my honorable mentions. Laura Dern in The Tale. Helena Howard in Madeline's Madeline, and Elsie Fisher in 8th Grade.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Laura Dern always puts in solid work. Always.
Yes.
This performance, she could have overplayed this so hard, but she played it cool, subtle, which I tend to, I guess, prefer, because I keep mentioning, like, subtle performances and stuff. But Laura Dern, as always, fantastic. With Helena Howard, I think it's her first role ever, and she was, like, the main character, and she did all the heavy lifting in a weird movie. She played off everyone really well. I think she's a name to look out for. And then Elsie Fisher, you and the actors, you went a lot with kids. Well, I'm going with a kid on this one. She was the main character in 8th grade. She was young, so obviously that helped her, like, relate to the character that she was playing. Even though apparently in person she's nothing like the character she played. Okay. They could have fooled me because, like, I see that performance and I just assume that that's who she is. But apparently she's not nearly that socially awkward and stuff. So, and like always, like, when it's a kid or, like, you know, a preteen or whatever doing a performance, it's a little more impressive.
Yes. Oh,
Especially
yeah.
when they have to carry the movie themselves. Everyone else was good in that movie, but like Elsie Fisher is clearly the star there. So yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
Okay. My number 3 Best Actress of 2018 is Lady Gaga for her role in A Star is Born. And maybe I'm over-crediting the fact that it's basically her first... I don't know whether it's her first film credit or not. I don't think it is. But it's like her first actual like acting credit.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm over-crediting her for that. But I mean, that character is... Even in a story that's very clearly dabbed with a little bit of Disney dust almost, it's like, all right, this is very clearly like a story from the 50s or so, whenever that movie was originally made, and it's been remade a few times, and it's still very clearly like a narrative, an older narrative style. But I just thought, especially for like a first acting role, I thought she was tremendous. And I thought her chemistry with Bradley Cooper was so good. And very clearly she took direction incredibly well. Kudos to Bradley Cooper for directing the movie as well. And I don't know, I just thought she had one of the performances that left enough of an impression with me that it really stuck with me all year. So that's why she's my number 3.
Yeah, she did show that she can act. I mean, she learned, on the spot from Bradley Cooper, but like still, she put in the work and she did a really good job. I mean, obviously the singing parts, we know she could nail that.
Right.
But like the heavy lifting, she nailed. Like, she was really good. I got nothing. She's actually the best part of the movie. Like, I know when you said Bradley Cooper for the guys, I was kind of like, well, it was fine. So my number 3 is Charlize Theron in Tully. She's just great. She's just a great actress that until this year I didn't realize that I actually really enjoy. Like, not that I love all the movies she's in, but like every movie I see, and she's really, really good. Like, she adapts to whatever role, and she basically played... Like, this movie hinged on her so much, and she played a struggling mother so well. She hit all the notes. Just a fantastic performance by an actress that always seems to put in really, really good work.
Yeah, very, very much, feels very much still like she's at the top of her game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember really enjoying her performance too in Atomic Blonde. I don't realize that was a movie from last year, but like, and it's never that like, I was like, oh, Charlize Theron, whatever, she's overrated, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, you see something like an Atomic Blonde, which is not the greatest, doesn't have to be the greatest dramatic performance, but still it's a character that's kind of, I would say, at least a little bit outside of her comfort zone. And you can do a role like that, and then you can come and do a role like this, and you feel seamless in both, and that's the mark of a great actress.
Yeah, and she's like still putting in that awesome work, like, and you remember that like she did Monster like over a decade ago.
Yeah.
And she was beloved.
My number 2 Best Actress of 2018 is Carey Mulligan for her role in Wildlife, where she plays opposite Ed Oxenbould and Jake Gyllenhaal. And what I love so much about Carey Mulligan's performance is how much I hated her by the end of the movie. Ugh, she's terrible. She becomes such a terrible person. And I put a lot of the blame for it, honestly, on her. A lot of the blame for this is on her character. She doesn't have to react the way that she does to the things that happen, but she chooses to. And it's the way she chooses to act. I'm like, oh my God, I hate you so much. But this performance is so perfect. This performance is so damn good. And like, oh my God, you're making me hate you so much right now for not only what you're doing to your son, but what you're doing to your marriage, what you're doing to your family, just as a whole unit. Like, I'm just like, I hate you, but I love this performance. It is absolutely GD perfect. It's the best I've ever seen her before. She's my number 2 because that performance blew me away so much by how much I was just like, oh God, I just want to, I hate you.
My number 2 is Toni Collette in Hereditary, his favorite movie of the year.
Absolutely.
Because she's awesome in this. I don't know how big the movement is, but I keep seeing like that give Toni the Oscar. Have you seen any of that?
No.
Maybe it's just where like I frequent, but I'm seeing a lot of people be like, just give Toni the Oscar, give Toni the Oscar. Like, she's getting a lot of recognition for her performance, but she won't get enough recognition, I don't think, unless the Oscars smartens up, because she's in a horror movie. One of the best performances of the year is in a horror movie, and she hits all the notes. She's so intense, but yet sympathetic, but messed up, and she really deserves at least a nomination for the Oscar. But I mean, she got snubbed at the Golden Globes, didn't get anything, because mostly I just want to say how it's stupid that like a horror movie performance won't get nominated.
Right. It won't even really be it won't be given a second thought.
Yeah. I mean, unless the Oscar surprises us, maybe they're like, hey, Toni Collette in Hereditary. It's like,
maybe we should get our heads out of our butts. My number one Best Actress of 2018, and it may be the first crossover we have,
yay.
Emily Blunt.
Yay. Yeah, it is!
Yeah! There we go.
I'm gonna throw my hat, but I don't want to do that.
I don't have a hat on, but we'll throw it anyway. So Emily Blunt, obviously for A Quiet Place, and I got to see Mary Poppins Returns, and she's such a good Mary Poppins. Like, you can kind of tell in the trailer that she's kind of nailing it, but over the length of that whole movie, I'm like, you nailed it. Like, you're Mary Poppins at this point. And she just grabs that character, and she's so good in that character. But again, for the majority of it, obviously, is for A Quiet Place, and I love the story of her being cast in that movie. I remember she talked about it in an interview, and she knew John was writing it, and they were taking a flight over to, I think, Europe, because she was doing some reshoots for Mary Poppins at the time. And on that flight, she read the script, and she said to him, she said, I have to play this. And I don't think anybody could have played that character the way that she played that character in A Quiet Place. And it was so, just absolute command of a horror movie, command of that type of movie that kind of then delves into, not to spoil too much of it if you haven't already seen it, why the hell haven't you seen that movie yet, but like almost it delves into the sci-fi at the end of it, and it's like she still commands it even within that construct, which she's done before. Emily Blunt is so tremendous just as an actress and as a human being. I bow to your voodoo knowledge of being Emily Blunt and being awesome. She's my number one.
Yeah, she nailed it. I mean, I didn't see Mary Poppins. The only reason I was going to watch it was to watch Emily Blunt, but she didn't really need it to be my number one.
Right.
Like, that only would have helped, but she didn't need it. She's been the number one since the beginning of the year, since whenever A Quiet Place came out. She never lost it. She sells things so well. I remember her, spoilers, I guess, even though you should have seen it by now, her stepping on the nail.
Yes.
Was so intense. Because she's just like, ugh. But she's fantastic. I can't really add any more to it than you did. She's just, I'm pleased when my number one actress gets my number one spot. I mean, if I'm being objective, or trying to be objective, had I not seen A Quiet Place and only saw Mary Poppins, I'm assuming, anyway, like, I probably would have had to give it to Toni Collette. Because honestly, I considered toppling Emily Blunt with Toni because Toni's performance was that great.
There you go, folks. It took a couple of videos, but the crossover has finally happened. Emily Blunt, our consensus number one Best Actress of 2018. Thank you very much for watching. Which actresses do you think we snubbed? Which did we forget to mention? Let us know in the comments section below. And join us for the next video where we talk about the folks behind the camera, the folks that really run things, our top directors of 2018.